I was 23 years of age. My firstborn wasn't even 1 yet, and I had just lost approximately £400,000 and about £200,000 of investors' money. While most people see problems, entrepreneurs, they see opportunities. I turned 17 in the September, and by the March I had passed my driving test, so the opportunities for anybody that just learns to drive has now been extended. The whole world is your oyster. I was on maybe £2 an hour, I think it was. I wanted a new job, and I went into the newspaper and I seen a small article in the newspaper, of course, before you applied for jobs online. All it said very simply was £1,000 per week, no experience needed. Call this mobile number. Of course I phoned and I went along to this interview, and after phoning them I still had very limited information. And it was funny because I remember going along, CV in hand, suited and booted, ready to impress and to try and get this job. There's probably hundreds of candidates going for it. And I actually found the person interviewing me, who subsequently was the sales trainer and would have went on to be my sales manager. He persuaded me to take the job in the direct sales, commission only industry in home improvements. For the best part of 2 years, I applied my trade, learning what direct sales was all about. There was something quite humbling about travelling the country late at night, visiting clients in their home, knowing that if you do not sell, you make no money. And it's not only that you don't sell, you make no money, but you're obviously spending money in the first instance on fuel and costs to run a car and everything else, travelling the country. So there is a big importance put on the fact that you need to sell, you need to start selling quickly, you need to be good to make a living. Yeah, there was something quite humbling about that, but my sales trainer was great, and even to this day I still hold him in very high regard and I thoroughly appreciate what he done for me, because effectively what he done is he taught me sales. He was the one that introduced me to this career. I mean, I was travelling the country for hours every day in my car, going to people's homes all over. And instead of listening to the radio, he had me conditioned that I should be listening to people like, and it's the old classics, Brian Tracy.
You see, fear is the greatest single obstacle for success in sales and marketing. Today,
to this day, in his late 70s, is still giving out sales knowledge, more relevant then than maybe it was now, or it is now. Zig Ziglar, motivational.
The reason is we've been conditioned to believe what we see and doubt what we hear.
But basically, I was filling my head with the knowledge that was required to be successful, and I'd done well. The money at that age was great. The sales knowledge that I attained was invaluable, but what was really life-changing was the lessons I learned just about life, travelling the country, feeding myself with this knowledge, but the sort of toughening up that commission only, no sale, no pay attitude actually has on you. The hunger that was created as a result of that, which is still with me today, that for me was the best part of it all. So 2 years in the direct sales and home improvement industry really did toughen me up, and what I went on then to do thereafter was form a business with 2 other business partners, and it became pretty successful. My job within the company was to run the sales in the marketing department, so I had maybe 10 or 15 sales people. I think it was probably about 30 call centre staff, marketing staff, and my job was to generate leads and to sell those leads. That was what I was in charge of, and I thought that was the business. I mean, ultimately, yes, that is critical in any business, but I thought that was the only thing in business, and so we ran that business very successful. We were doing millions of pounds every single year, but I must admit I grew tired of the partnership. They had different ideas of where the business should be going, and ultimately I said that I'll sell out. I'll move on to Pastors New, and I sold my share within the business, and that was my first mistake in business. Purely because I thought I knew how to run a business, and first and foremost I did not. And yeah, I moved on too early and didn't really know about how to run a business. A business is not just all market, sell. There is other key parts to it that you need to know and understand, and if you don't know and understand, then somebody in the business needs to know and understand, such as finances, understanding cash flow, understanding how to handle and deal with suppliers, employ staff, train them, etc, etc. There are so many elements of a business, and quite often people were good at their craft, sales, but not very good at running a business. And after leaving that business, I could have left that business, bought a nice house, had some cars, and lived quite comfortably for a few years without really having to worry about things. But that just wasn't me. And moving on from that business too early and not learning the valuable skills was my first mistake. It was only after I went into my other business did I realise that was a mistake. And that's when I went on to make probably what I would class as my most expensive mistake. I heavily invested my money and investors' money into a business, and we were doing millions of pounds a year, and I was running it. And I just had no clue really how businesses should really operate. And really after 2 years of maybe about 6 to 8 months of good times, then we then started to really falter and fail and come into difficulty. And that's where my passion was born from. It's all very well and good if you're a hairdresser or an engineer or a designer knowing your thing, but you must understand business. And then I did not, and I realised I was lacking in some skills. Unfortunately, we kept going. I chased after to try and fix it, and I couldn't. And money was running out, cash flow was non-existent, the demand letters started coming in, the layoffs happened, difficult conversations with myself and with staff had to be had. It was a real difficult time. I remember to make wages near the end, I first pawned my watch, and then thereafter I sold my car just to make wages. That was the kind of final straw when I realised it was time up on that business. Yeah, an expensive mistake, but
fail early, fail often, fail forward. Failure is a massive part of being able to be successful. You have to get comfortable with failure. You have to actually seek failure. Failure is where all of the lessons are. Successful people fail a lot. They fail a whole lot more than they succeed. They extract the lessons from the failure, and they use that the energy, and they use the wisdom to come around to the next phase of success. You're getting to your limit, getting to your limit, getting to your limit until you get to the point that all of a sudden your body makes the adjustment, and then you can do it. Failure actually helps you to recognize the areas where you need to evolve.
Failure is important.
It is important.
I think failure teaches you things that you don't learn from success. I think failure gives you an opportunity for self-examination, and also gives you a feeling that is very uncomfortable. And that very uncomfortable feeling helps you grow. When you feel like shit, you screw something up. Like when I've had bad podcasts, my podcast has always gotten better afterwards. When I've had bad stand-up sets, I've always gotten better after that, because those bad sets motivate. They give you a perspective like, hey, here's some clear examples of where you fucked up. And don't look at these failures as like proof that you suck. Look at them as opportunities for growth. Look at them as opportunities to be motivated to do better.
Family of mine were saying, Scott, you need to stop this dreaming. Maybe you should just get a normal job like the rest of us, and you know, you're not going to become a millionaire. You know, just get your head out the clouds and, you know, get an apprenticeship, get a trade, something, you know, something where that was reachable and tangible, and not chase after these big goals and these big dreams. And even though I had that from people that were really close to me, I still couldn't give up on what I thought was the most natural thing ever in kind of all my dreams. And those failures and that difficult, you know, 3 years or so of real struggle and fight, people don't realise is that is a natural course of one's life, and it's only when you get through that you sort of callous the mind to then become better, to start, you know, working on yourself, to be able to deal with things that once were difficult are now made easier. The challenges that you're going to face in life and face particularly in business, only by going over that and having that experience and literally walking through hell are you then able to face things in the future. And so because of those failures, we now have significantly more successful businesses. I have invested in companies where there is solid teams in place. They're making money, they provide a lot of value to clients, the customer service, the offering is great, the industry is buoyant, and it's an industry that is going to be there for a long time. We're not worried about government changing the tactics on us and changing things and allowing us to have excuses. You know, these are industries where there is a lot of demand for, and there's going to be more demand. And so it's only because of them that those failures that I have changed as a human being as well. There tends to be big things in your life. People often talk about having family and children that change your life, or being in certain relationships. Well, my business failures has really been the thing that has shaped me and made me the person that I am, and provided the kind of the toughness, the mental strength that I can apply now to every area of my life, and I can pass that on to my staff, because I've actually went through it. And there will no doubt be a time ahead where we come against some difficulties. I am now more than ever ready to be dealing with any type of problem, whether it be with staff, whether it be legal, whether it be industry, whether it be the sort of economy. 100% certain that no matter what can get flung at me now, I can deal with. And that's what all business owners need to be. They need to be there. Some of the things, because of these difficulties, I have now learned and that we want to spread and talk about and speak to other business owners about is the things you learn from these difficulties. How to build teams where you can heavily rely on them. How to create a sales process that you, like clockwork, can predict. How to create internal business processes that you can predict the results from. How to generate new business, train people, look after HR, cash flow. We now know it all. And we are now getting better and better at it. We don't know all, and it's, you know, that's it, we can't learn anymore. I am still learning, and it's information that I want to provide to people out there to really help their business. But it's only because of the failures and the difficult times of past that we're able to do that. Probably the best mistake and failure that I've ever had.